we learn through Kabbalah that we don't grow without challenges. And even though 2020 was very challenging, um, I think that most of us really grew a lot, figure out things a lot, um, ended a process, starting a new process, new ending, new beginning. So there was a lot of, well, it's all depend. We talked about it all the time. It all depends how we look at reality. And 2020 was actually a good year. It was a good start, to start something new, to figure out truth. And we are coming to 2021, starting something new, and hopefully deep and hopefully real. We are in the portion of Shemot. Okay, Shemot in English is Exodus. Exodus is because we are talking about exile and redemption, and we're talking about the exile and redemption of the souls. Obviously, we are not talking about a real story, and the Torah is not a history book at all. It even, I heard someone say something really nice about it. It says, why do we want to learn from Abraham about chesed, about right column chesed? I mean, yes, he was a person who did all good things, and he was helping others, and he was always put others in front of him, and he always sacrificed, and he was really all about chesed, all about mercy, all about sharing. And today we can find people that are amazing people, and that is doing chesed all the time, that is helping, that are sacrificing, that dedicating their life. I mean, there's so many people like Abraham. And if you go to Hollywood, we can make so much, if it's only like just a story for us to get a lesson. So let's go to Hollywood and have a movie. And today, with these brilliant, writers, I mean, brilliant movies out there, you can really write a script of a beautiful, story, and we can learn so many lessons from it, right? So why do we need to go back all the time to the Torah and learn the same thing every year from Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Joseph and all the Merkava and all the chariot? Why do we need to go back to it every year? And this is exactly what I said before. This is not a history book. We get the divine from it, the divine reality. It's all about energy. It's not a story. And Rabbi Shimon says that if we think that the Torah is a story or a history book, I wish he wished that we didn't come to life at all. Because then we lose the whole purpose. If we just want to hear the story, let's hear the parasha so we can learn a lesson. Okay, it's not really about just learning a lesson, because every lesson can be interpreted in so many ways. It says that the Torah has, there is saying 70 panim la Torah, 70 interpretation to the same paragraph. You can read the same paragraph and have 70 interpretation for the same thing. So, which is right? Okay, and that's the beautiful about the Torah, because the Torah is a dimension that is beyond time, space, and motion. And if we are looking at the Torah as even a story to learn a lesson, we still don't get it. Because the Torah is not something physical at all. It's beyond time, space, and motion. It's divine reality. And every time that we look at the Torah as a story to learn a lesson from, yeah, we can go deep. We can tell a lot of deep things. But if we're still looking at it as, wow, deep, but still in the realm of time, space, and motion, we still didn't get it. The Torah is one, and the Creator is one, and the divine is one. Only one. And there are 70 ways to get to that one. But we cannot forget that there is only one. Only one Creator. And only one divine, and that's it. And there's many ways to get to it. So it is not a history book. It's not stories. We want to learn from the people in the Torah, because, they they are in dimension that we cannot understand. That's why we say that yes, there were people, but yet, since it's the Torah, it was not really people. So the exile of the people of Israel, it's really the exile and the redemption of our soul. Okay, and it's called name because the name name in Hebrew, Shemot in Hebrew is names, and it calls names because the name is the ma'atefet, is wrapping the soul. The name is in charge of the soul. So when parents give names to their children, they need to know that that name will carry the energy of that name, will carry with their child for the rest of their life. That's why it's very important to choose a name for a baby that really has a positive meaning or positive connection. All right, I know today there is all kind of cool names, but yeah, cool names are good, but also we need to find a name that will wrap the soul, that will help the soul grow. Okay, and it's also called names because we know that in the book of names, Exodus, we're going to learn a lot about the power of names, all power of some of the names of the Creator, like the 72 names of God and 42 names of God, and other names that we can use as tools in our life to help the soul to get out of exile. When we are not in unity, it's called katnut. Katnut, it means smallness. Okay, and when we think small, we are only able to think about what I want, and I can only think about what I need, and I can only think about how do I feel. All right, and it's okay that we think about how we feel and what we want. But the moment that we are not able to accept someone else's opinion, or we don't like someone because he thinks different or is doing things different, then we're coming to the place that called katnut. And Pharaoh was in charge of the nature. Yeah, he could make miracles, but within natures, okay, because he thought that he's like almighty, right? And he had some magic power, but it was all within nature. It never went beyond the time, space, and motion. And therefore, when Moses and Aaron came and asked them to release the people of Israel, he says, I don't know your God. Because they came with the name of Yud K Vav K, the Tetragrammaton. And he doesn't know the Tetragrammaton because the Tetragrammaton is about time, space, and motion. He only knew the word Elohim. Elohim is another name of God that has to do with judgment, that has to do with the lower level. And if you remember when we talked about Joseph, when Joseph talked to him and interpreted the dream, he said, I will only say what Elohim told me, what God will tell me to tell you. But he used the name Elohim, the lower level of God, because that's the only name that Pharaoh knew. That's the only name that connects us to nature. And when you really think about nature, water and fire, within nature, they cannot stand one another. I mean, fire and water destroy one another. In their essence, they are completely different. The fire cannot take the water will shut it down. And the fire will evaporate the water. They're ruining one another, and this is within nature. I mean, within nature, the body and the soul cannot really live together if there was no divine within there. How can something so limited and something that is so divine can go together? Man and woman, men from Mars, women from Venus, it's a totally different energy. How within nature we can put those two together to create a life, to live together in the same households? It's within nature. If we're only looking within nature, we cannot really grow. I mean, we are totally destroying one another. So within nature, if someone else doesn't think like me, is a threat. already is a threat. It means that maybe I'm not right. That and sometimes we fight. Even in relationship, even with children, with people we love, we fight for what we believe. like our life depends on it. Instead of saying, what, this is what I think. I'm open. Maybe there's something else. I'm willing to listen without feeling threat, without feeling that, oh my God, that person will take something away from me because this is what I believe in and I want to change my mind. But what if I'm wrong? And you know what? Even if I'm not wrong, it's okay that someone else has another opinion. It's okay that someone else wants something else. And if you really look at life, most of most of the fights, most of the hate that we have between people, because each and every one of us think different. We can all live together if we can, we can at least understand someone else. Nobody say we need to love everyone, but the work of Satan come right there at the beginning. The king who didn't know Joseph, that nature, that 1%, we call it in Kabbalah, that doesn't want to know the 99, that wants to live within the reality and the limited reality only. And that's called katnut mochin. Katnut, smallness of the mind. A person that has gadlut mochin, the greatness of the mind, and we're not even talking about the physical mind. It's divine, right? Katnut mochin and gadlut mochin. Maybe you should know that it's Kabbalistic terms, that it's good to know. Gadlut mochin means like I'm able to listen. I'm able to hear. Many times when we don't think the same, we don't even let the other person finish talking. We already want to answer because we are right. Right? And today with the South Node in Sagittarius, what is right? The universe is not letting us be right anymore. And even if we are right, and we don't want to listen, we just bring chaos to our life. Listen, it's not about doing the right thing because we want to be righteous. That's not the idea. We want to be open because we want to eliminate chaos from our life. But we want to be right and eliminate chaos from our life. It doesn't really work. If I know already everything and I know what to do and I know how I want, but what if it's not? Can we be open for that? And it says, in the Torah, ותר האישה ותלד בן ותראה אותו כי טוב ותצפנהו 3 ירחים. And how in the Torah everything goes so fast, right? It's like she got pregnant, she gave birth to a boy, she looked at him, ותר אותו כי טוב, and she saw that he's good. So what does it mean she saw that he's good? And the same thing is written in Genesis. Vayar Elokim et haor ki tov. And God saw that the light is good. And that light that was created in the first day was the real light. That the light in all his power. Today we have a glimpse of that light, a spark of that light that's called the sun. And as far, how much the sun is very strong and very powerful and very hot. It's just a spark of the real light. Okay, so the first day he was creating the light, and that light was there for 3 days until the 4th day. And in the 4th day, he concealed that light. The Creator concealed that light, and he created the me'orot, the sun and the moon. Okay, so it's called the Or HaGanuz, and this is the Or HaGanuz that we reveal in Hanukkah. We're not going to go into the Or HaGanuz. It's the concealed light that we are not yet ready to reveal. But when Moses was born, the woman, his mom, Yocheved, saw the Or HaGanuz in the house. Therefore, they knew that he is the one and he is the prophet. And therefore, Ra'ata ki tov. Okay? She saw that is good, like the Creator saw that the light is good. The same light of the Organut was born. So you understand the power of Moses and what happened when he was born. So he was already born with Gadlut. Okay, I was talking to you about the Gadlut, right? That he was already in Gadlut, and we go back to the, I did a detour about the birth of Moses, and we'll go back to the Gadlut. The Gadlut Muchin, right? And Moses grew up, and he came out to his brother, and he saw that there's suffering. Because he was in the Gadlut, he immediately could feel how they feel. He could feel their suffering. When we were talking about the Torah, and we were talking about that it's really energy that is divine reality that is beyond time, space, and motion. Because when we always say that we want to feel someone else, within the limitation of the body, we cannot really feel someone else. Some of us more, some of us less. But it's not the physical body that can feel, the pain of someone else. We need to go to the Gadlut level. We need to go into the beyond time, space, and motion to connect to that Achdut, to connect to that unity with someone else. We are not able to do it within the nature and within reality. So every time we ask for love, true love, true love, it's not something that comes within the limitation of the body. We need to go into the beyond time, space, and motion, into this divine reality to feel true love. And that's we need to come to a place of Gadlut. When Moses, Vaigdal, Moshe, okay? And let's look into astrology for a minute. And by the way, this week, and next week, there's so many things. So first of all, yesterday on January 6th, and we'll see how that astrology fits obviously to that portion and the whole message of unity that we need to have within ourselves in order to be redeemed. So Mars, 6 months, if you remember, if you're following this class, Mars 6 months ago entered to the sign of Aries, and he was there and he went backwards and he was squaring the COVID planets, and then he went direct, and finally yesterday, after 6 weeks, he's getting out of Aries and he's entering to the sign of Taurus. Okay, now what does it mean? I'm thinking, I was trying to think like the Mars in Taurus. So let's think together. If Mars is energy of war, Mars is energy of mind, right? It's the Aries, it rules Aries. Mars is a fighter, okay? And Taurus is exactly the opposite. Did you ever see a cow that wants to fight with someone? A cow just want to, sit and eat grass and be calm and be comfortable. That's the Taurus. So when Mars goes into Taurus, it's giving us the ability, like the Mars is that strong energy. It's like our opinion, our desire, what we want, that's that Mars energy. I'm willing to fight, but that's the fight. That's the energy of Mars. And Taurus is that serenity, actually. Taurus is serenity. Taurus is comfortable. Taurus is calm. Okay, but Taurus is also very possessive, because Taurus is a sign, right, that rules money. Why it rules money? Because within Taurus there is possessiveness. It's mine. Now, the moment I say mine, I'm already in separation, right? So what we really want to pay attention, that, I don't know, we're not trying to live in a because communism proved itself that it doesn't work, right? But because we don't need a dictator telling us, or to define if it's communism or socialism or democratic. It doesn't matter. It's within us, to feel that whatever is mine is a gift from Creator. And I don't need to protect what's mine all the time. And I don't need to be in competition, because Mars is competition. Now, the moment I'm in competition with someone else, like who has more? Mars in Taurus. Mine is possessiveness. Like, you have more money than I have. You have a bigger house than I have. You have, a bigger car. You have whatever. The moment we do that competition, who has more, we're already in separation. I mean, competition is something good because, in a way, because it's motivating us. When we see someone successful, we also want to be successful because we really want to, not because we want to be better than the others. And do you know how many people I met, including myself in many, because everybody has Aries somewhere in their chart, right? And in Mars, right? And when people look at each other and compete, and that's their really motivation, the competition, they're not successful. Because they always compare themselves to someone else. And the moment we compare ourselves to someone else, there's always going to be someone better. So competition, it's just for us to use it as motivation, not as a true competition, that I want to have more than the other. And when Mars in Taurus, and we really know to... when we connect to that energy, like we said, of the beyond time, space, and motion, and we look at physicality as something that makes our life better. That if we have a nicer house, if we have what we need, if we have the food that we want to have, it's making our life It's making our life better. But it's not a status, symbol of who am I. Okay, so we really want to know that one of the reason that we are not in unity is that physicality, it's like what I have versus what someone else's have. Am I successful more than the other person? Do I have more than the other person? Is the other person have more? And it says that if your friend received something that you want, say thank you, Creator, for not giving it to me so I can be happy for my friend. And I know it sounds like, oh my God, we are human beings. But we are human beings that we can connect to beyond time, space, and motion, above nature. So Mars yesterday enter into Taurus. Mercury on the 8th, which is tomorrow, enter to the sign of Aquarius. Venus tomorrow enter to the sign of Capricorn. Okay, and you see that, and we have a new moon also on the 13th, right? Yeah, we have a new moon. So there's many things, and there's other aspects, tons of other aspects that happen only this week. And all the personal planets, because there's personal planets, there is the Trans-Saturnian, there's Jupiter and Saturn, and there's Trans-Saturnian planets. And all the personal planets, which is Mercury, Venus, and Mars, okay, they're all changing signs. And it's something within us that is changing. And Mercury is the planet that rules the North Node. Remember, we spoke about it last week. The North Node is in Gemini. Gemini rules by Mercury. So we need to follow Mercury along this year. All right, and Mercury is in Aquarius. And Aquarius is a higher level of consciousness. Mercury is a thought process. Okay, Mercury is good in Aquarius because Uranus, that rules Aquarius, is a higher octave of Mercury. It's a higher level of consciousness. So you really get Mercury in Aquarius will able to take us to a place that we say, yes, I'm a human being, but I can overcome it. Yes, I'm a human being and it's difficult for me right now, but I can do better. Yes, I'm a human being, but I can connect to a higher level of consciousness. And I'm not staying within, yes, I'm a human being and I'm allowed to fall. Yes, of course, we are allowed to fall. But every time we fall, The minute after we says, okay, oops, I failed, I forgive myself. Next. Aquarius is a sign of next. Okay? And that Mercury, because all of them moving, in each sign, I hope I'm not too technical. And if I'm technical, listen, I can get any criticism from you. Please email me to esther.barnea@kabbalah.com and tell me if it talks to you, if you want to hear something else, okay? Okay, so when we have in every sign, there is 30 degree, okay? 0 to 30, right? And because all of the personal planets, they're all 0 degrees, so they all make relationship with one another right now. Okay, so that Mercury will square Mars, okay? And Mercury in the 9th will conjunct Saturn, because Saturn is in Aquarius. Conjunct, it means it's going to be the same degree. They're going to come together, okay? And on the 11th, is going to come conjunct with Jupiter, okay? Because we have all those planets in Aquarius. So when Mercury goes there and is fast, is walking until he meets high Saturn, and he's walking, and he meets Saturn, and he's walking, and he's continued to do relationship with other planets. And Mercury meeting Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius is a higher level of consciousness. We've been given opportunity to in those days, on the 9th, on the 11th, and by the way, even between those, because it's close by, okay? We want to think about what are the things in our life that we are limited about, that we don't see beyond, that we don't see how we can get out of it, that we don't see a way out, and connect ourselves to that serenity, to say, you know what, I'm really trusting. I want to be with unity right now. And I want to be with unity with the Creator. But we need to know that we cannot be in unity with the Creator if we don't have unity with people. So even like as an exercise, even to take like one person that we are not in unity with, and don't even talk to the person, but just try to come down and see, is there a way I can understand the other person? Is there a way that maybe what he or she is saying to me and I don't see, and I'm so stubborn about it, and I'm so think I'm right, and I'm willing in that moment to just accept and see beyond the limitation of my fear, the limitation of my opinion, the limitation of my way of looking at life? Let's look at it. One, because with Mercury meeting all those planets, it must be something that can open up, that can break through. And remember, the North Node is in Gemini, it's information. Mercury is information. Aquarius is genius. Okay, so when we have Mercury meeting Jupiter in Aquarius, is genius. What is genius? It's something that is above nature. Okay, it's above average. So when we are willing to go into ourselves and look for unity, like with someone that we don't, just for the sake of it, exercise to really see that maybe I can bring myself to a place of gadlut. And if I can bring myself to a place of gadlut, Aquarius is a light bulb, it's like like in the cartoon, a light bulb, puff, divine. It's like, oops, oh, I got it. I see it. I got the information I need. I got sorry, I get it now. So all these planets, that Mercury, square Mars. Now, what is square Mars? Mars is in Taurus right now. He entered into Taurus. They're meeting together in 1 degree. Mars in Taurus wants my comfortability, right? Mercury in Aquarius wants to think behind the box. He's bumping with that Mars. Okay, it's square. Is like, I can look at life. Yes, I'm a human being, but I can look at life from a higher place. I can raise my consciousness to another step of gadlut. Okay, so he's doing a lot of things this week, and Mercury is the the ruler of this week. Is entering into Aquarius. Is meeting all those planets, And we spoke so many lessons that everything begins with how do we look at life and what do we think, and it's um, the brain that is ruling the heart, and this is the week to do so.